This is the sliding compound miter saw. The difference between this one and the miter saw is this can cut slightly wider materials by the fact that it can slide out, it can cut down, and cut back. And it looks like this can cut something about almost 12 inches wide. So this can cut wider stuff. It's kind of a middle ground tool between the miter saw and the radial arm saw. And in fact, the sliding miter saws are actually making the radial arm saws a little bit more rare and taking the place of them because they can cut up to 12 inches or sometimes wider than that. The radial arm saw can cut 24 inches, the one we have, but there are very few manufacturers of radial arm saws, and there's a lot of manufacturers of sliding compound miter saws. The sliding compound miter saw has all the same guidelines and safety procedures as the miter saw or the compound miter saw, but with these two additional guidelines. During slide cutting, always push the blade away from the operator. This is exactly the opposite of the safe operation of the radial arm saw, with both tools having tracking cutting heads. The difference is that the radial arm saw has a spring-loaded cable that tracks the head back into place away from the operator and the work. The sliding compound miter saw does not have that feature and would likely kick back at you if you cut by pulling toward yourself. Never pull the slide toward the operator while cutting. Always push away from yourself in a single, smooth motion. This is the sliding compound miter saw. It's very similar to the regular compound miter saw. It has all the same features. It can just do straight miter cuts, just like that. You can adjust the miter to go at various miters. We have a dust collector for it as well, down here. Always use the dust collector. The catch with this is that you can cut wider boards than the compound miter saw. The compound miter saw can only just cut down like that. But the sliding compound miter saw can slide forward and can cut down, and you can now cut a wider board. But unlike the radial arm saw, you don't cut down and pull forward. With the sliding compound miter saw, the correct action is to pull forward, go down, and push in. So the sliding compound miter saw does not have that saw mechanism that automatically retracts it back the way the radial arm saw does. It's not going to want to control if you pull it out in the same way that you do the radial arm saw. You want to start fully out and go in. This board is about 8 inches. It should be too wide to do your normal cut. I'll try doing just a normal cut. The guard won't even go down all the way and allow me to cut through fully. I need to pull forward. I need to down. And I've made my cut. You are able to lock this into place so that it can only go down and do just straight miter cuts. If you are only doing 1x3 and small stuff, you might want to do that so it doesn't travel along so much. So like the compound miter saw, these adjust, but they should be all the way in if you are doing your regular miter cuts and not doing compound miters. So doing your regular cross cuts, your wood will have the most support if they are all the way in. There is a lockdown device that you're welcome to use. Hold your wood in place. Again, same thing with the miter saw. 6-inch no-go zone. Don't put your fingers there. Wait until the saw comes to a complete stop before removing your scrap pieces. This one is the one I have at home. It's a cordless one. It has an 18-volt battery, but it's a 9 amp hour, which means it lasts longer than the standard 5-6 amp hour batteries that are part of most of the other tools. Makita makes several cordless miter saws as well. They usually take 2 batteries, but Milwaukee has it so that the battery has 9 and they have a 12 amp hour battery, just a bigger battery with a longer life. In this case, the saw has a dust bag that gets removed. I don't have a dust collection system, and again, when the dust bag gets half full, that's the time to empty it with any saw with a dust bag.